High-performance companies have high-performance teams. High-performance teams need to work in unison. The number one challenge that B2B companies have is internal alignment. And I don't know if you remember, but when we got together and we did a prep call for this, the first question I asked you was, what do you see as the top two challenges to creating long-term sustainable growth? Well, I've asked that to over 120 different C-suite executives now. By far, the number one challenge is internal alignment. And then I've had on the podcast many different guests that are partners, former CROs, CMOs that are in go-to-market advisory companies now. And they say, hands down, number one problem in B2B is just internal alignment. But here's their recommendation, that the voice of the customer is the number one change agent, the number one alignment tool inside the company. Do you agree with that? Like, how do we, first off, just internal alignment, your thoughts, and then how customer obsession helps that as a potential solution?
Yeah, I see why everybody agrees that internal alignment is the number one blocker. We were chatting earlier, right? And I was sharing that when I was with British Airways or Avios Group, right before it transitioned to IAG Loyalty, I used to spend 60 to 70% of my time on internal meetings. These were meetings where I was aligning pre-sales, technical support, AI, solutions, marketing, PR. It was like, this should not be happening in the 21st century. My team at the time, obviously the remit was external revenue. So 95% of my time and my team's time should have been spent, looking back at it in retrospect now, with external clients, and yet it wasn't. That's the problem that we have today with any big organization, because in Capita Concentrix, all of the companies that I have been with, you always have different teams. And the issue with cross-functional reporting and all these different matrices that we have internally is that everybody has an approval system, everybody has a different set of KPIs that are then measured on. And until you say all of the teams under my remit are going to be measured on the same outcome, right? Departments are always going to fight. And that's why
Absolutely.
it's extremely important in order to, if we can somehow magically decrease internal alignment, if we can look back from a customer perspective and say, okay, our end customer needs this. That means that the 10 teams that report into this role are now going to be aligned on the same outcome. And that means that the sales incentive plan that is put in place, or the incentive policy that's put in place, is going to measure each one of those teams on the same KPIs. And when you align the KPIs and the outcome, basically when your bonus depends on the same thing, then all of these magical issues that we have internally, they disappear. That's why at ISON today, we're doing that. With my teams now, we're aligning everybody. First, when we sat down, I asked myself the question, what are the right behaviors that we want to drive internally? The second question was, who is involved to deliver the outcome that we want to deliver to that client? Actually, the second question was, what is the outcome that we want to deliver for our client? And then the third question was, which are the teams? And then all of that was packaged up and delivered in a sales incentive plan that measures everybody on the same outcome now. So that was the first part of your question. I think that internal alignment can really get sped up when we remove the internal roadblocks, all the interdepartmental fights, so to speak. Where voice of the customer and customer obsession comes in to decrease that is, it's the same thing. The marketing team and the sales team should be 100% aligned what we're delivering for our clients. Solutions, marketing, pre-sales, tech support, delivery, ops should all be teams that are delivered and measured on one thing. Have we delivered for our clients or not? And the issue is that doesn't happen because everybody reports into different structures internally. So until we start, I think, designing organizations that are much more flat than they are today, we're going to see that quite a bit for some time to come.